Hello and welcome to today's webinar, which is entitled Life Hack My Microsoft 365. My name is Ted Hulsey. I'm CEO of IronPath and your host for today's event. First, let's go through a few housekeeping items. All participants are in listen-only mode. Today's session will be recorded and circulated to all registrants. Thank you for joining in for the live session. Please submit your questions as we go along, and we will address your questions on the fly. We also have a dedicated Q&A section at the end of the presentation. Finally, we will send you a brief 1-minute survey immediately following today's event. Please share your feedback. Today's webinar is brought to you by a consortium of IT service providers serving your local community. Thank you to our sponsors. ACCI is headquartered in Birmingham, Alabama. itSynergy serves the Phoenix and Denver metro areas. ProTech Support is headquartered in Salt Lake City and serves clients throughout the state of Utah. And Sagacent is headquartered in San Jose, serving Silicon Valley and the greater San Francisco Bay Area. Now let's look at the agenda. The goal of today's webinar is to show the different applications and use cases for Microsoft 365. Hopefully you discover some little known gems. And more importantly, we hope you identify 1 or 2 key applications you can start implementing in your work today and in your company. In terms of the agenda, first we'll get an overview of the scope of Microsoft 365 and review how Microsoft Teams is rapidly becoming the most important application in the bundle. Next, we will see a real-life demo of how to use Teams for internal and external collaboration. Next, we will look at Microsoft Bookings and how it streamlines meeting collaboration and scheduling across a host of different scenarios. And lastly, we will see how Teams and Microsoft Stream help you record videos and build training and educational resources, all with the included applications in the Microsoft 365 bundle. Now let me introduce our speakers. Keith Keller is co-founder and COO at ACCI in Birmingham, Alabama. Keith will introduce Microsoft 365 and Teams. Next is Michelle Lawson. Michelle is account manager at ProTech in Salt Lake City. She will provide us a live demo of all the ways she uses Teams with internal and external collaborators. Then we will hear from Eric Woodard. Eric is founder and CEO of ProTech. Eric will share how Microsoft Bookings is a hidden gem in the 365 portfolio. And finally, Michael Kokenauer will round out the conversation. Michael is founder and president of itSynergy in Phoenix, Arizona. Michael will share how Teams and Stream can work together to build video and educational libraries. Without further ado, let me turn things over to Keith.
Thanks, Ted, and thanks to all of you for joining. Great day here in Alabama. We are avoiding Hurricane Sandy or Sally, excuse me. Wish we could send that rain to you folks in Oregon and California. As Ted introduced me, I'm working here at ACCI, and we're going to talk a little bit about Microsoft 365 and Teams. Ted, I guess you'll click through the slides for me, or do I have that control? There we go. So, quick show of hands of everyone who's used Microsoft Office before. Oh wait, I can't see everyone's hands. Okay, well anyway, we've all used Office before. It's Microsoft's bundle of Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook. We've used it for years. Microsoft Office 2010, 2013, 2016. Then several years ago, Microsoft threw a curveball at us and they said, hey, we've got this thing called Office 365. It sort of started in the area of Microsoft hosting email. And then someone said, why don't we host Word, Excel, PowerPoint, some other tools? We'll call it Microsoft 365 because we're not confusing the world enough. And then recently, Microsoft changed Microsoft Office 365 to just Microsoft 365. Again, just to keep us on our toes. So as you can see, Microsoft describes their product, Microsoft 365. It says it's designed to help you achieve more with innovative Office apps, intelligent cloud services, and world-class security. Thank you, Microsoft, for that amazing definition. Can we all get a facepalm together? Ted, if you'll advance. Yes, this is what we think about that definition. Next. A little more accurately, Wikipedia, Microsoft 365 is a line of subscription services offered by Microsoft. Okay, now we're getting a little more close. It includes Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, a tool called Microsoft Teams, which we'll tell more about in a moment, OneNote, email, cloud storage space, enhanced security features. So that's very helpful. You can see here on this list on the left-hand side of your screen, there's a wealth of tools that can be included in your Microsoft 365 subscription. Again, Microsoft 365 is Office 365 that's renamed. So we'll look at a couple of the items in here, but in the Microsoft Teams area, well, let me back up for a moment. Why do we want Microsoft 365? Well, it's a subscription model. So if you've got Netflix, Hulu, Spotify, if you have cable internet at your house, your cell phone, everyone's on the subscription model, right? So a retail version of Microsoft Office could cost you $430. Or when you buy a new computer, it may become preloaded, but that subscription stays with that computer. But if you subscribe to the Microsoft 365 plan, it's a subscription model that you pay a small fee for each month. So why do I want it? It's Microsoft. It's the 800-pound gorilla, or maybe they're 1,000-pound nowadays. I don't know, but they have billions of dollars of resources to put into their tool sets, their subscription model, to put in their security services. Hey, they're the biggest on the block. That's why we would want, for one subscription price, you can use this tool on multiple devices. If you have a desktop, if you have a laptop and a mobile phone or a tablet, a Macintosh, for one subscription price, you can load the tools on up to 5 different devices. That's a great plan. So a couple other items about the tool. One tool within Microsoft 365 is called Teams. Many of you may have used it before. What is Teams and what's in it? It's a tool for Microsoft that actually has video and or voice calling, if you prefer. You can see here, this is a screen capture of my speed dial list. The nice thing about Teams is it shows what we call the presence of your contacts. You can see here that Mr. Bobby Davis, the first in my list, he is available for a call, and I can simply click the video icon or the phone icon to call him with video or call him just with audio. You'll see that Bobby Thomas is actually away, and then Bobby Welch, our president, is already in a meeting. If your name starts with Bobby, you can work at our company. So presence is known, and it's very helpful for folks. You can have a video and voice collaboration call. Instead of just calling one person, you can have multiple people participate, very similar to the tool we're using to present today. And if you look really good, like you belong in a J. Crew magazine, you can be in this picture. So in this instance, we have 4 available attendees that are listed. Microsoft is continuing to improve the Teams product, where they'll have more folks in the screen. Other attendees can be listed at the bottom, and the sharing of applications can be listed at the bottom. Teams has a chat function in the same tool. And you can see here on the left-hand side in the list, I have different groups and individuals that I have chat history with. On the right-hand side is the particular individual that I've chat with, and some of these are older and some are more recent. You can put pictures in here, you can link to hyperlinks, reactions, etc. But you have a history of a chat. Again, it's tied in together in the same tool. The other thing in Teams is we can organize people into, yes, teams. So here in our list here, we have a sales and marketing team. We have a management team. We have a systems and services team. We've also got a team of individuals who are working on projects for our client AFC. We have a team of individuals that are working on our client experience. And so you can divide your individuals in your company into teams. Each individual can be involved in multiple teams. The nice thing about being divided into teams is you can have chat to the team. You can have voice calls for your team. You can also share files. This is built into Microsoft Teams. And you'll see here on the right-hand side, we have different spreadsheets listed here, an operational initiative that we're working on. We have our sales performance, actual versus quota for the year. This is in the management team. These are files that multiple people can work on at the same time. And it resides here. It's within this tool, Microsoft Teams, and we can always refer to it. We can bring them up individually. So it's a great way to collaborate together with files. There are apps that you can add to the Microsoft Teams tool because, again, it's Microsoft and they're going to blast it out to the whole world, but many of us all use other tools for our productivity. In this particular screenshot, you'll see in the middle column on the first row, there's a SurveyMonkey tool that can be added to your Microsoft Teams tool. And you can use this app or this add-in, sometimes is what I call it, to where you can reach out to those who are participating and provide SurveyMonkey. Maybe you use some of these tools, and this is certainly not the entirety list. On the left-hand side, you see in the list of apps, they are grouped together in analytics and business intelligence and education, human resources, productivity, sales, and support. So you can add apps and connectors to the Teams tool. And of course, since we're using a video and voice collaboration tool, why not have all your competitors' apps listed in your own tool? So fun, here's the Cisco WebEx or the Zoom or GoToMeeting tool that you can add into your Microsoft Teams. So that's a very brief overview of the Teams app and the included functionality of each of the different pieces. And we'll move forward a little bit to the next. The last thing I want to leave you with is if you do all this together and you have videos and you have collaboration together, you may as well record it, right? And share it later, similar to what we're going to do on this webinar today. You can see here in the bottom in this particular picture that we had a Teams check-in video. We recorded it, and Microsoft provides a tool or a function called Microsoft Streams that will allow us to securely upload this video to be viewed later. You can search and find if you have multiple there together. So a great way to kind of wrap this up. Ted, I'll turn it back to you for the next.
Okay, yeah, before I hand the ball to Michelle and have her give us a live demo, can you talk a little bit about, well, first of all, I want to remind everybody, if you have questions, please use the Q&A tool. But Keith, tell me a little bit about, let the audience understand a little bit about how much are you guys at ACCI living inside Teams? Tell me about how that's evolved over time and where it is today.
Sure, yeah. Every time any of our employees logs into their computer, their tablet, cell phone, etc., Teams is active. And we use it for chat, for quick messages. We use it for voice and video calls. Many times it's an individual call. We have team collaboration that has grown tremendously over the last 6 months. As you can imagine, just like each of you who are listening, the pandemic sent a lot of folks home. We're working remotely, but we also involve clients in these meetings. Our sales meetings now are done virtually if someone won't take an in-person meeting. So much of our day is living in the world of Teams. Yes, we still use Outlook for email, but it connects to Teams. Yes, we use our phone system. It can connect to Teams. And so Teams has kind of become the de facto collaboration and communication tool within our organization. And it's all day, every day, all employees.
Fantastic. Okay, well, let's change gears. And thank you, Keith. And now Michelle is going to tell us a little bit about how to use Teams on a very practical level and actually give us a live demo. So Michelle, why don't you first share with us kind of what you're going to talk about, and then I'll hand you the ball and you can present from your machine.
Sounds good. Thanks, Keith, Kate, and thanks, Ted. Keith, that was a great overview. And so I'm just going to go a little bit more in depth on some of that stuff. As mentioned, I want to give kind of a real life scenario of how ProTech uses Teams on a day-to-day basis here. And for those of you that have been using Teams for a while, this might just be a brief, overview for you. But for those that are just getting started and haven't been using Teams, hopefully you can gain some new insights and good information from this. First thing I want to do is go over video conferencing and how we use video conferencing with our clients. Due to COVID-19 placing a greater demand on social distancing, we have moved to virtual visits with our clients. So Teams has really become a critical part of our day. So as you asked Keith, how are you using it? We use it every day. It is a very critical piece to our business right now. Second, well, first of all, on the video conferencing, I want to show you the ease of scheduling, the different ways to do that, how we use file and note sharing to collaborate with our clients, and also how we use screen sharing during our, what we call a TBR, our technology business reviews, but those are our client meetings. So I'll share all that with you. And then lastly, if you'll go to the next slide, Ted.
Okay, bear with me.
No,
There we
you're
go.
fine.
Yep.
Then I'll show you how we use it as internal team here at ProTech to do video calling and things. And I know Keith showed a little bit of that, but I'll kind of go into a little bit more detail. So if we want to hop into live demo mode, I'll kind of walk through that with you.
All right. Okay, so Michelle, you should be able to share your machine now.
Okay, not yet, but as soon as I see that pop up,
Let's see.
I will let you know.
Here we go. Okay, here we go.
There we go. Okay. So it said share my screen, but I don't believe you're seeing my screen, correct?
We are. We see your calendar.
Oh, you do? Oh, perfect. Okay, thank you. That's what I want you to be able to see. Okay, so I really wanted to talk about the 3 different ways to book a meeting. The first one would be from your Outlook calendar. So just like normal, if you go in and pick a time, Friday afternoon or Friday morning, you want to book a meeting. The thing that will be different about a regular meeting versus Teams is up here in the top, you'll click on Team Meeting. That will then bring up here your Teams invite within that calendar invite. As you can see, I also have a call-in number, conference ID. This is something that is, you have to upgrade your licensing within Microsoft, but it is easy to add so that then if people don't have Teams or they don't have video conferencing capabilities, they can join your meeting just by telephone. Okay, so in here you'll want to add the title of your meeting, who's required to come to this meeting, the date, time, everything else just like normal. Once you hit send, that is going to go ahead and send that invitation to anyone that's invited to attend your meeting. Okay, so that's the first way, is to go ahead and do it right through your Outlook calendar. The next way is right here in Teams. You also have your Teams calendar. You can book it the same way. Pick a time. Say we want to do it Friday afternoon. Again, we're going to add title, your required attendees, your date, time, all that fun information. Actually, if I add in a Teams demo and I add in a required person, then you'll see it moves it to send, and then you can go ahead and send out that invite. You do have to have that information in there first. So super easy from your calendar. I'm going to discard that so people aren't getting fake meetings. The third way that you can book a meeting is up at the top right-hand corner. You can go ahead and just say meet now. Say I want to call an emergency meeting. I need all staff on board. I can do a meet now and send that out, and we don't have to have it scheduled in advance. Another quick way is to just do a new meeting here, and instead of picking a time from your calendar. Okay, so those are kind of the 3 different ways that you can book a Teams meeting. Let me go. Okay, so the next thing that I wanted to do is show you how once you've scheduled that, what it looks like. So I went ahead on my Outlook calendar and scheduled a live demo appointment. So this is, if you had a meeting already scheduled, how you would get into it. Click on your calendar. There's that join Teams meeting that I showed you before. I'm going to click on it. I'm going to have Sarah, one of my coworkers, join in on this meeting so that you can see how this works. I know you guys probably won't be able to hear the audio, but you'll be able to kind of see how this works when we're booking meetings with our clients. So our clients would join this meeting. Oh, Hopefully Sarah will be able to join us here. Oh, there she's popping in, and there's Sarah. Hello, Sarah. So this is how we go ahead and book our meetings with our clients. Just wanted to show a few things once we're in here. Keith briefly covered some of them, but here's where you can see your participants. So you click on there, it will show everyone that's participating in that meeting. You can also add participants right here and invite them in the middle of your meeting. The next thing is conversations. This is where you can share and collaborate notes. There's a way to get into do whiteboard and collaborating with files, and I'll show you how to do share screen in just a moment, but that's kind of where you do some of that collaboration. The next thing, of course, is a hand. Just like in any function, if you have a question and want to raise your hand to the meeting, then you can do so there. This little bar shows us all kinds of fun things. This is device settings where you can go in and set your audio and your visual. So if you're using a headset or if you're using the audio from your camera, you can set that here. Again, meeting notes, sharing files, things of that nature from here. Keith touched briefly on the gallery. Right now, I've only got one person in my meeting, so I can only see one person. If you have a large group, you can see everyone's gallery pictures. Something new is this together mode. If you've got multiple people, I'll show you this is what that looks like. It brings everybody's individual pictures and makes you all look like you're sitting in one room. So kind of a new feature that they've put out. It's kind of a fun feature. Back to these three bars, this is also where you can go ahead and do background effects. So if you want to make it look like you're out on the beach, or if you want to just put an office in your background, if you're working from home and you don't want people to see what's behind you, then you can do a background effects there. Live captioning, this is where you can start recording. Keith mentioned that. So that's where you get into all those tools. And then of course you can decide whether you want your video on or off, if you need to mute yourself. This is the tool that we love to use here at ProTech when we're meeting with our clients, and that is the share screen. So I'm going to go ahead and just present here. So say I want to show in my meeting. Let's see if I've got right here my agenda. So this is the agenda for my meeting. This is what we're going to be going through in my meeting. And then I can flip out and show different documents if I've got reports or things of that nature that I would like our clients to see while I'm on that meeting. Then this is how I do that, is through a screen share. And then for ourselves, we always send a follow-up email that has all of the documents that are attached to the email and any follow-up items from our meeting. So that's how we're kind of collaborating there. So that's a good tool that we are using right now. Okay, so back here, I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye to Sarah because that concludes our meeting session. So I'll go ahead and leave out of there. And then the next thing that I wanted to show you then was how we collaborate as a team. So as Keith showed you over here, if you hop into your calls button, then you get all of your speed dial. Again, as he mentioned, you can show presence. You can show whether somebody's busy or not. So say I just got done with my client meeting and hey, I now want to collaborate with different members of the team to tell them how the meeting went. Then I can hop on a quick call. I can look and see if they're available for that call or if I need to schedule it later. I know it shows Sarah's busy, but that's just because she's attending this webinar. I'm going to go ahead and just say, Sarah, I need to collaborate with you real quick. I hit video. And we're going to get her onto another video call. And this time, instead of it being a meeting with an outside, this is just an internal meeting with Sarah or somebody else on my team, so we can collaborate this way. And I can do it both with video or with just a phone call. So that's how we're collaborating with our team members. About half of our team is working from home. Half of our team is here in the office. So this has really worked out well for us. If I need to reach out to a team member that's not here in the office, I hop on a quick phone call. We collaborate real quick and hop off. So it's worked out really nicely. Sarah, I'm going to say goodbye and leave this session as well. Really quickly, I wanted to show you if anybody wants more of a detailed description of how this works, or if you have team members that weren't able to join this webinar today. If you go to the ProTech website, which is just protechsupport.com, scroll down to the very bottom of our website, we've got a how-to videos section. So if you click on there, we've actually posted a couple of videos on chat and video calling as well as meetings. So if you want to hop in and watch those videos, it does give you a good tutorial of kind of what we're doing here at ProTech and how to use those. So any questions pop up for me, Ted?
Yeah, let's tackle a couple questions. Let me pop this out. So just a very simple question. Mitchell wants to know, are we going to be providing a recording of this session? And the answer is yes. And then I guess John wants to know, how do you connect to outside people? video or voice calls? Like, what's the typical approach? Like, first, what's capable in Teams, and then what are you commonly doing when you're working with people outside the organization?
Okay, so this whole time as I've been talking about our client meetings, right, those people are all outside of our organization. So it's exactly the way I've just described. You're going to create a meeting in your calendar. It sends them that meeting invite. If they have Teams, great, they join right through Teams. If not, it sends them a link to join via the web. So it's the same either way. Now, as far as what the capabilities are, the only thing that you cannot do with an external call is you cannot collaborate and share files and notes. Those are for internal use only. So that's why I use that screen sharing capability when I want to share something with somebody outside my organization, is because you cannot collaborate on as far as files outside of your organization.
Right, but the I guess another related question is, does the person who you're trying to collaborate with on Teams need to be a Microsoft 365 subscriber?
No, absolutely not. So when I send out that, like I said, if they have Teams or not, it will just have them join via the web if they're not a subscriber.
Okay,
Does that answer the
fantastic.
question?
And then talk to us about, and I'll kind of throw this out as a jump ball, but what's the cost for Teams? You know, if we already have Office 365. I mean, I think this is kind of the byproduct that Keith mentioned of Microsoft kind of changing the names of things. What was Office 365 is now Microsoft 365, but which subscription levels include Teams?
Okay, so you've now moved to Microsoft Basic, Standard, Premium. Okay, so your standard is going to be email only, and so you're really going to need to get into your standard or your premium to be able to get Teams that comes with that.
Right, but I mean, Standard is pretty affordable and Teams is included, and I think it's a huge move by Microsoft to include this really robust application as a core piece of functionality in the bundle.
Absolutely. Sorry, I wasn't sure that you were asking for pricing, actual pricing, $12.50 per user to get that standard that comes with all of the applications. Premium does bump you up. Yeah, premium bumps you up to a different level where you get all kinds of security involved, and it's a whole nother level. But $12.50, it's really reasonable price.
Right, and I guess just from a practical perspective, most of your clientele is either on Standard or Premium.
That is correct. Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Richard wanted the ProTech website one more time, so Michelle, why don't you give that to him for the
Absolutely.
video?
If I'm still sharing screen, right? So protechsupport.com, PROTEKSUPPORT.com.
Okay, and then just Becky, we're gonna keep moving here to Eric's discussion around bookings. But one more just kind of basic technical question. Becky wants to know, you were talking a little bit about changing your background. Can you set that up so that for every meeting you do, it's always the same, or do you have to set that up and pick it every time?
Yep, unfortunately, you do have to pick it every time. Otherwise, it will just set back to your regular camera. However, before you actually hit the button that says join meeting, you should be able to go in and set that backdrop so that it's already there before you hop into the meeting.
Okay. All right. Well, so Michelle, thank you very much for the live demo and explaining how ProTech is using this to collaborate with your clients and with other parties. Eric, why don't we turn things over to you and talk to us, why don't you introduce what you're going to share with us and talk to us a little bit about Microsoft bookings, and then I'll hand you the ball.
Very good. So I'm Eric Woodard from ProTech. We are an MSP out of Salt Lake, and today I'm going to talk about Microsoft bookings. Bookings is really there to solve one problem, and that is the back and forth ping pong of trying to schedule a meeting with an external party. Okay, so let's use a case study of Larry, and I want to schedule a meeting with Larry. So I send Larry, hey, I'm available Tuesday and Thursday, and you know, between 2 and 4, when are you available? And Larry emails back, well, I'm out of town on Tuesday, but Thursday I'm available at noon. I email back, and we continue this dance until we hopefully land on a time that we can both meet, or worse yet, it just gets dropped and no appointment is set. So what bookings does is it gives us a live view of my calendar that Larry can look at and then book an appointment based on his availability and mine. Today, I'm going to show you in less than 10 minutes how to set up a bookings page, how it works, and hopefully you'll be able just to jump right into this afterwards. So one quick point of clarification here in regards to pricing. Teams actually does come with all Microsoft packages. So if you look here, Teams does come with the lowest package, which is $5 per user per month. These are the web services. Then, as Michelle mentioned, the one with the applications is $12.50, and then the premium one with additional security is the $20 per user per month. So
Thanks for clarifying.
You bet. If you have 365, most likely you have Teams. You just need to know how to get into it, okay? So I am going to jump right in and show you how I use Teams. And this is a brand new email message, okay? So I'm getting ready to email Larry. And right here in my signature, I have a calendar link, okay? So in all emails that go out, people have my calendar link. I'm gonna click on this, and this is what people see. This is my personalized Microsoft bookings page, okay? On here, notice I've made it the ProTech Blue and ProTech Green. Here are 4 different services that we offer, or 4 different meeting types. Once you click the meeting, you can click on the date. The bolded ones are the ones that are available. You can select the time, and then Larry just has to put in his name and email address and hit book. What that does is it puts it onto my calendar as an appointment for on the 24th at 1 o'clock. It sends an email to Larry with the meeting invite for 1 o'clock. And we're both in, and then we can put some notes in there and kind of collaborate on what the meeting is about through the notes area here. So that's what we're trying to, that's the end result of what we're trying to accomplish, is having this personalized page that people can book a meeting with me at any time and see my calendar in real time. One note, they don't see what's on my calendar. So if I have a haircut 5 o'clock, they don't see haircut. They just see when things are available, like they do here. Okay, I've had that concern that people are going to see your calendar, and no, they just see when you're available. Okay, so I'm going to hop into my Microsoft account. So office.com, I've already logged in and used my 2-factor to get in. And you click on the little series of boxes up here, and here is all the different things that I have with my licensing in Microsoft. If you click on all apps, then there's a link for bookings. Okay, if you click in there and you don't see bookings, you need to contact your MSP or your 365 administrator, and they need to enable that for your account. It comes with Microsoft 365. It just has to be enabled. So just a heads up that if it's not showing up, it's because it hasn't been enabled yet. So I'm going to click on bookings, and this is all the back-end settings that determine what's on this page. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be flipping back and forth between these 2 pages to show you how this works. There's some tabs over to the left here. I'm going to start from the bottom and work up and show you how we create a bookings page for us. At the bottom here, we start with business information, and this is just the basics, right? Put in your business, your address, your phone number, your hours, things of that nature, and this is also where you upload the logo. Okay, so notice it says ProTech EW Calendar. If I put a demo after that, I hit save. I go back to my calendar page here. I hit refresh. See, now I have demo right there. So it is real time. When you hit save, it is live, and that's what people see. Okay, so first thing you do is fill in your business information. The next item up is services. And so these are the things that we can schedule. These are the different types of meetings you can schedule with us, with me. I think the easiest way to do this is just to create a brand new one. So I'm going to go add a service, and I'm going to call this Learn About Bookings. So here's a new meeting type, and I can give a description, all things bookings. I can add a location, or better yet, I can just click on make an online meeting, and now it switched it into a Teams meeting like what Michelle was showing. I can add how long the meeting is, and I can add buffer time. So I want, an hour before the meeting to prepare. I can also say what's the maximum amount of attendees. I can set a price to this. So think about if I was a psychologist or a haircutter, I can put a price with it, and it will actually take the credit card and process the payment, all within the same platform. Down here, I can do some more customized things, but right here under reminders and confirmations, I actually have one reminder in here to email both me and Larry, the person that's booking the appointment, 24 hours before the appointment to remind them of the appointment, okay? And then I can customize this reminder. And then down here, I get some more advanced features, and notice that they're grayed out. The reason they're grayed out is because I have this checkbox saying use my default policy, and I'm going to show you in a few minutes how you set up that policy, and that's just kind of the basic settings. The other thing that's really important here is to show the service on my booking page, so I can turn this on and off as needed. So that's all I have to do. I hit save, I come back to my bookings page, I hit refresh, and look, I have a new appointment type for learn about bookings, and we can select a day, a time, and it will go right on my calendar. So that's how easy it is. Now, if I have an interview, but I'm not interviewing right now, say we're not hiring, I can come back and go to my interview, scroll down here and say, do you know what? Don't publish this right now. So I uncheck the publish, hit save. I come back to my bookings page and hit refresh. Notice they can't book an interview anymore. Okay, so it's really dynamic, really simple to make changes. Over here, I don't have time to get into this, but we could actually have a whole staff of people, and I could book a whole staff. So if I had a haircutting salon, I could have 5 stylists, so I'd have 5 appointments available at 1 o'clock. And so you can actually assign different staff members. Customers, this is just a list of all my contacts in my Outlook. The booking page, this is where we get to customize and make our booking page look super sexy. Okay, so right here, notice that it is published, so it is live right now. If I wanted to unpublish it, I'd click on unpublish, but I can change the colors. For example, I have the ProTech color, so I put in our custom colors here, but maybe we just want orange. So I select on orange, I uncheck this, I select on orange, I hit save and publish. And when I come back to my page here, I now have an orange bookings page. Okay, so super simple. There's a bunch of other controls in here. You can connect it to your Facebook. So if you have a company Facebook and you want to allow people to book from that, you could just connect it right to Facebook right from here. You can put some controls in place. You can say, do you know what? I only want people with Microsoft 365 identities to be able to book with me. I don't think I'm not sure why you'd want to do that, but if you wanted that, that's available. There's also, you can block this from being searchable by search engines. If I was a haircutter place, I might want this being public, but for ProTech, I only want this really going to my clients, so I disable the search with public search engines. Okay, here's the policy settings that we talked about. I can say my default is an hour, and my lead time is 4 hours. I need 4 hours of notice before you can book something with me. The last thing I want is you to book something in the next 20 minutes and I'm not ready for it. And then you can say how far advance can they book. In other words, I don't have my schedule all booked out, a year from now, and so I'm only going to let them book 128 days in advance. Here's the email notifications. So these are the settings that I can set once. And then on my services page, I can just select down here. I just say use my default scheduling policy. So notice it has all those same settings. So I don't have to keep resetting up the same thing over and over again. Okay. So really if you want to get this started right now, go to business, fill in that information, create your first type of meeting, publish it to your calendar through your bookings page. Then last but not least is you'll want to copy this link. So this is your unique link. So if I hit copy, here is that unique link, and that is actually what I'm putting in to this link right here. Okay, so I could just share the whole link, so I could just paste it. Let me recopy that. That was an old copy. Let me copy this. and come back into my email. So if I want to give the whole link, I could just paste it like that, and people would go to that same bookings page. So if I click on this link, and we are back to that same bookings page that we made orange. Okay, so really that the business, the services, and the booking page, and you are ready to go. I'll show you a couple more things. So the calendar, this just shows me who's booked on my calendar this week. So this is not my full calendar. This is just the bookings that I have for this week. I can see the month or whatever, so I can see all the different bookings. And then home is just kind of a dashboard. I've had 10 made in the last little bit. If I was charging, I could see the revenue and so on. This is also kind of a nice walkthrough if there's anything that you forget here. But what this does is it, like I mentioned before, it eliminates the ping-ponging of when a time is available. People have my signature and they can book a meeting at any time. So this has been a game changer for me. I think it's one of the best kept secrets of Microsoft. And so just want to kind of share that with everyone. Ted, any questions?
No, I think we're gonna, I think it would be good is to talk a little bit about, maybe just have Michelle comment, because I know you use this all the time and you have to keep in touch with dozens and dozens of ProTech clients. So talk to us a little bit about how this has changed how you work.
Absolutely. And I think it goes back to exactly what Eric was saying. I used to do the, hey, we would really like to meet with you in the next couple of weeks. Is there any time that you have available? Or here's a few times we have available, and it's the back and forth, right? And so now I get to send out an email that says, hey, it's time for our TBR review. We would like to book a time that's convenient for you. Here's a link to my calendar, to Eric's calendar. Go ahead and book that. And then if I haven't heard back from him within a week, then I can send out a second reminder. But most of the time I'm getting bookings right away. And so it's been amazing. I love it.
Yeah, and I guess one comment I'll make is that this is a game changer for Eric and Michelle, but it's also a game changer for everybody who you're inviting to these meetings, because they're going through the same ping pong if they don't have access to a tool like this. So I think just like, why is e-commerce such a massive phenomenon in our society? It's because people like self-service, and making it easy for your customers, your clients, your business partners to set up a meeting and be productive and get down to business is critical. So like Eric said, one of the best kept secrets in Microsoft 365 included use it, get to it. And Michelle and Eric, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ted.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's change gears. Michael Kokenauer, you're up, and you should just be able to click on the screen and take keyboard and mouse control.
Great, thanks very much, Ted. So what I'm going to talk about is creating an internal training library, an internal video training library using Microsoft Teams, which we've already talked about, and Stream, which Keith touched on very, very early on, but we're going to kind of dive deep into Microsoft Stream. So let me tell you what the goals are from my section of the presentation. So the first thing is I'm going to show you how to create kind of an internal brainstorming area for training ideas. So speaking for our own team internally, a lot of times our engineers will come across something, maybe they'll get a ticket from a customer on a particular technology, and they'd say to themselves, man, I really wish I knew more about this or had more background or more training on this. And so we wanted to create a centralized area to collect those training ideas. So I'll show you how to do that. And then we wanted to create a way for employees to share and transfer knowledge between each other. So oftentimes we will have subject matter experts in all of the different technologies that we work with. And we wanted to give away, so if you're an employee and you're the subject matter expert, say in sonic wall firewalls or whatever the topic is, we wanted to give those folks a way to share their knowledge, their more in-depth knowledge with the rest of the team to improve the knowledge level of the rest of the team. And so that was one of our goals. That also allows the teacher to further their subject matter expertise by teaching. So you talk about the various levels of mastery, and one of the highest levels of mastery is when you understand a subject so well that you can actually teach it to others. And so we've actually found not only is this a great solution for the people who are learning, but it's also a great exercise for the people who are teaching because they actually get better at it. And then what we wanted to do is we wanted to capture that and create an online video collaboration platform for live learning. So there were really two things that we wanted to do. The first was we wanted to create a way that we could capture this instruction in a video format and make that available online, so that not only we could record it, which I'll talk about in a second, but also so that if we have team members who are out of the office, who are working remotely, maybe even working from a different city, that they would still have the opportunity to gain the benefit of that training. And then the last thing was we wanted to create a video library to use for future training. And so this accomplishes a couple of things. Number one is a lot of times engineers may not be able to make it to a particular training event, or we have new employees that come on. And so if we do a phenomenal class in some particular technology last month, and then we have a new person start this month, we wanted them to be able to get the benefits of all of the training that we've done in the past. So rather than just delivering these live training events like we've talked about so far using Microsoft Teams, we also wanted to create a library or an archive of these events that folks could go back to at any time. So that could be for new employees, or that could even be for an employee who did take the training the first time, but then maybe didn't get the opportunity to touch it for several months and wants to brush up a little bit, they can go back and watch the video. So let's jump in and talk about exactly how to do this. So the first thing we talked about is we want to be able to collect ideas. We want to have kind of a target for brainstorming on what people would like to see training on. And so the way that we did that is we created a dedicated Teams channel to collect ideas. So you can see here, I have a screenshot. This is our Everyone team. And within the Everyone team, we created a channel called Lunch and Learn Ideas. So when we do these trainings, we do them as lunch and learns. We'll get lunch for the employees so they've all got something to eat and they can take their lunch hour and learn something new. So we created a channel called Lunch and Learn Ideas, and I've got a screenshot here of some of the stuff that happens in that channel inside our organization. So you can see here, I posted something back in May that Mike, who's somebody else in our organization, would like a lunch and learn on Perch, which is one of the technologies that we work with. He wants to know what the capabilities are and what exactly it's looking at. And then I said, I'm happy to teach that because we have our director of operations that monitors this and actually sets up the training, which we'll talk about in a second. And I also suggested that somebody else in the organization who's a subject matter expert in that technology might be a good candidate to teach that. And then you can see Mike, who we were talking about earlier, submitted another idea back in August. He wanted training on Microsoft LAPS, which is the local administrative password solution. And he wanted to know if we're rolling it out to everyone or was one of our customers, Craytech, a one-off. I replied and said we're rolling out to everyone. They were a pilot, but this is a great call to do some training on this. And so Shelly, who's our director of operations, I tagged her in the message and I told her I was happy to present this since I was the one who rolled it out at Craytech. So this is just an example of people submitting kind of brainstorming ideas. And then what happens with that is our director of operations monitors that channel, and then she'll actually set up and schedule a Teams meeting. So she'll go through all those ideas. She'll kind of work with the team to prioritize what they want to learn about the most. She'll pick one, and then she'll schedule a meeting. So you can see here, we have a meeting scheduled for Perch internal training, and then we would invite all of the engineers to it. And just like Michelle showed earlier, we would make that a Teams meeting by clicking the Teams meeting button when we set up the appointment. That puts the link down here at the bottom, so that it's a Teams meeting. And so then when we actually hold the event, the first thing we do is we'll record the meeting. So Michelle showed earlier this more options, the 3 little dots, so you can click on that. And one of the things that she showed is there's this start recording option. And so what happens is right at the beginning of the meeting, we'll start the recording for the training. And when you record something in Microsoft Teams, that's actually automatically saved to Microsoft Stream. And so you don't have to do anything to get it into Stream. It just automatically goes right into Microsoft Stream. Now, at the conclusion of your meeting, it might take a little bit of time before it shows up in Stream because it has to process the video before it's published in Stream. But when the video is published in Stream, whoever started the recording receives an email telling them that the recording is ready. So important to record the meeting. That gets pushed automatically to Microsoft Stream. And then what you need to do is once it's in Microsoft Stream, the person who recorded it needs to go in and just share that with the rest of the organization. So if you go to Microsoft Stream, you can choose My Content and then Videos, and then you need to edit the video, and there's a Permissions tab, which I have a screenshot of here, and there's just a little checkbox that says allow everyone in your company to view this video. So you just need to make sure that that checkbox is checked for the training video that you just recorded. And then when you did that, now when you go into Microsoft Stream, you can choose Discover and Videos, and here's some examples of some of the videos we have in our training library. So you can see here, Doug did a class on itSynergy Mimecast implementation, Doug did another one on SonicWall, and Mike did one on Shadow Protect and Data file restores. And so you can see each one of these, it's a little bit like a YouTube channel or something like that that we're all familiar with. Each one of these is a video that you can click on, and you can go back and watch that recorded meeting that was done in the past. You can see these were done in April, May, another one in April. So now, like I said before, either existing employees could go back and watch that content, or new employees, when they come on board, now have this whole training library that they can go back and access. So that's the plan. That's how you do it. I will throw it back to Ted for questions and to talk about our offer.
Okay, great. And I think just, what Michael just shared is this shows really the power of the Microsoft 365 platform, because everything is in a single platform. All this extra value starts to accrue to things. Something like Teams. Teams is inherently more valuable as an application because you can very easily go and record the content, build an education or training library without having to spend any extra money. And I think really what we're trying to do with today's webinar is, make sure that all of the MSP, that are sponsors today, that their clients know about all these cool little life hacks you can do with this platform to take it to another level and derive more value without having to spend any extra money. Of course, you do need to, get educated in forums like this and then go tinker around a little bit. But I think as Eric showed, and as Michael just showed, as Michelle showed, this stuff is really compelling and really easy to configure. And since it all lives together in the Microsoft 365 platform, it makes it a lot easier to start making some amazing things happen inside your organization. So
Ted, I would just add on to that a little bit too. You talked about the financial benefit of not having to spend extra money for it, but also think about, like you talked about, the integration with Office 365. And if we think about what I just showed you and what that would look like prior to streams and Stream and Office 365 and all that type of thing, like you'd record that video and then you'd have to figure out how to download it, and then you'd have to set up a private YouTube channel, and you'd have to figure out how to get it uploaded to YouTube. And there's just a lot of manual work that would have had to have been done. Whereas with everything integrated in Microsoft 365, that stuff all just happens automatically.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
to echo that, same thing with bookings. Yes, you can do the same thing in Calendarly or Appointment Core, but then it's another product. You have to set up all the integrations, and you're kind of working on two different programs. The power of integration, I think, is one of the most key messages here.
yeah, and just the productivity and efficiency of getting all of this done is key. So it's all in the platform. So what we wanted to do, we're gonna switch to some final Q&A here to round things out. But what we wanted to do was thank everybody who joined today's webinar live, number one. And number two, we want to give you an opportunity for you to understand how your organization is using Microsoft 365. And each of our sponsors have offered to do a free deployment analysis for any organization that attended today's session live. So as you obviously saw, all of our sponsors and speakers today are experts on the platform. They are standing by and ready to help you figure out what are the things that you can do in your organization to take this platform to another level. So this is totally free. They are totally ready to hop into your Microsoft 365 instance, analyze and benchmark how you're using it today, and give you some concrete ideas on where you guys can start using Teams more, using bookings, use integrations between different applications that might be unique and relevant for your actual industry. And all of the speakers today are ready to hop on a call with you or come to you on site. It's your choice, and give you some personalized analysis for your organization and some customized recommendations on where you go. And if you choose to take us up on this opportunity to do this free analysis, we'll also give you a free gift, which is a Loom Cube video conferencing lighting. So I think one big theme, we're all spending a lot more time doing video conferencing, one-on-one calls, webinars, and the like. And so you want to look your best, and sometimes having like a light for your PC or laptop really can help you come across better on your video presentation. So if you take us up on this opportunity to kick the tires on your Microsoft 365 instance and figure out where you can go to take it to another level, we will give you a free Loom Cube, limit one per company. But please take us up on this offer. I'm going to be sending you an email momentarily. Let us know if you're interested, and we can do the analysis, hop on a call, give you some concrete ideas and recommendations, and we'll be happy to give you this free gift. So with that, let me move to formal Q&A. There's a lot of questions that have popped up, but let me just dive in here. Okay. All right. So Eric, let's take one on bookings. So Rob wants to know, you know, how do you use bookings, and how do you deal with kind of all-day appointments and that sort of thing? So maybe talk about how you can configure different kinds of appointments, different lengths, and just make sure everybody clearly understands how this thing is talking back and forth and syncing up with your calendar so that you never get double booked.
Sure. So the key thing there is you create different meetings that are different lengths. So I could create a meeting, call it a job fair or something like that, and I could say that it's a 7-hour event. Keep in mind that the only days that are going to be available are days that I have 7 hours of free time available, but I would just create a 7-hour meeting. I would possibly uncheck the default policies and put some other things like I need a day of notice, you know, some other parameters, but there's actually a spot in there to say the length of the meeting. So I have some meetings that are 30 minutes and I have some meetings that are an hour, and that's how you would accommodate for the different types of meetings.
Okay, and
Ted, can I hop in really quickly?
Yeah, sure.
So because I help to make a lot of the bookings, just make sure that your calendar is accurate. So if you decide, hey, I want to take Friday off, make sure you block off Friday so that nobody can book on that day. So really it syncs with your calendar, and you just need to make sure that your calendar is up to date.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's key.
Great. Yeah, it's kind of a blessing and a curse. So you're exposing your calendar to the world. You just now need to make sure you triple check things and have it up to date. Jody, who is a ProTech client, gives a big mega thumbs up on using bookings. So just wanted to share that.
Thanks, Jody.
And then talk to us a little bit, again, another question about bookings. Talk to us about multiple participants. So it's not always just, you know, one person and one person being invited who's doing the booking. How do you have a meeting with 3 or 4 different people? How does that work?
So good question. There is a link in there that you can say have the maximum amount of attendees that can join. So one person could do the booking and then forward that invite to other people, or if it's going to be multiple people, I don't believe you can do a booking with different organizations at the same time. So you would have to probably do a manual process of taking the booking. So me, Eric, I would have to take that booking with Larry and then send it to those other people would be kind of the workaround. So,
right.
There's not a way to have multiple organizations book at the same time. That's more of a one-to-many. This is more of a one-on-one.
But right, but just so we don't overthink this, I mean, it's basically like these 2 people wanted to make sure they were on the same page to find that nice window in the calendar, and then you can just forward the calendar invite to 2 or 3 other people. Yes. They may or may not be available, but let's not overthink this. It's like the 2 main people who wanted to meet got on the same page, got the meeting booked, and then you can forward the calendar invite like you can with any Outlook calendar invite.
Yep.
Ted, I just want to jump in. One other thing too, there's a completely separate Office 365 application that we haven't even talked about today called Find Time, and that speaks to, you know, the whole point that we're making here is there's so much more in Office 365 than what people realize, but Find Time could also be applicable in that scenario. That's where, let's say you've got, you know, 6 different people that you need to find a common time on everybody's calendar they can meet. Find Time will do that. It's very similar. A lot of people are familiar with Doodle, so it's very similar to that, where everybody can go in and, you know, you can give them 8 different options and everybody can say, well, I'm available on these 4, but not on these 4, that type of thing. So that might be another scenario that would be useful there too.
Exactly. Yet
Agreed.
Another application. And there's a relevant question. Somebody wants to know, like, if I log into my Microsoft 365 web-based version and I don't see these apps, what's going on? Tell me, somebody give some tips on how to work with your admin or your MSP to get that resolved.
There's a couple of things. Number one, and I forget if it was Michelle or Eric showed it earlier, but one of the things you have to look at is when you click on they call it the waffle icon in the upper left corner of the Office screen, it shows you some of the apps, but it doesn't show you all the apps. So there's a link down at the bottom of that list that says all apps. So that might be the first thing that I would tell them to check. And then if you're showing all apps and you still don't see what you're looking for, then I agree at that point you'd have to talk with your administrator or your MSP.
Okay, and then just couple Teams questions. Talk to us, Michelle, about how you use the virtual whiteboard in Teams. Can you talk a little bit about that as a function?
Unfortunately, I don't use the whiteboard. So, I mean, I know that it is a function in there. I prefer to either do the screen share as a whiteboard, but Eric is a drawer. He loves to draw pictures, right? And so a lot of times he'll hop onto that whiteboard to say, hey, this is how your network is currently laid out, and this is what we propose to move it to. And so Eric can probably talk to that more than I can because he likes to draw.
So couple things on that. So when you're in a Teams meeting, all you do is click on the More button and the whiteboard, and a whiteboard pops up that all participants see. Okay, then you can draw on the whiteboard, and more than one person can draw on the whiteboard at the same time. But I'll warn you, if you're on a PC, you're doing that with a mouse. So it's not a real awesome experience. But if you're on an iPad or a laptop with a touch screen, then it's a really nice experience. So just a heads up that drawing with your mouse, I'm not real great at, but you know, doing it on my phone, doing it on an iPad, doing it on my laptop that has a touch screen, it works amazing.
Okay, well, we tried to start on time and end on time, and there's a ton of questions we didn't get to. So we will try to get back to you individually to get your questions answered. But what I really want to just encourage everybody is leverage the expertise of the folks you saw on stage today. If you want some expert advice to analyze where you are in your organization with Microsoft 365, analyze it, give you some concrete suggestions, take us up on this offer to give you a free analysis of where you stand today and where you can take this platform to another level and start using some of these cool applications. So please take us up on that and reach out. Many of you are existing clients of our speakers today, so feel free to reach out and set up a meeting time to take this conversation to the next level. Finally, we did record the session. We're going to be sending it out. So if there's colleagues in your organization that you want to share it with, you'll have access to the recording to share with them. And with that, we're doing these webinars about once a quarter. So I want to thank all of our speakers for sharing your expertise and knowledge with everybody today. And I look forward to seeing everybody on our next webinar just a couple months from now. So thank you, everybody, and have a great day. Take care now.
Thank you.
Thank you.